Fall is in the air. This morning when I came up to the shop, it was a brisk 30 degrees outside. The leaves are starting to change and fall, and people are starting to think about Halloween. Stores are full of candy, but we're not going to make any candy today. Let's make a simple, spooky Halloween decoration. And this Halloween decoration is one that I saw on YouTube. Just like you guys, I watch YouTube to get ideas what to do in the blacksmith shop. And this was presented by Mitchell Jacobson on his channel. He did this about 5 years ago. I sent him a message, said, "Do you mind if I use your idea?" He said, "Sure, go ahead." But it wasn't his idea. He saw it somewhere else, and he didn't even remember where he saw it originally. So this is not something new and original, but hopefully some of you folks out there haven't seen this before, and you can be inspired by this. And this isn't a specific project. This is just an idea. You can take this any way you want to take it. As we work on this, start looking at other shapes, other forms, and maybe you can come up with completely different spooky Halloween decorations than what me or Mitchell have come up with. But before we get started, I would like to thank Doc's Hot Shop. I got a box all the way from Australia. And in this box are a couple of pretty cool things. The first one is a piece of wrought iron that he's been using to make his Viking-inspired hammers. And the grain structure on this is much finer, much more refined than the wrought iron I was using for that first Viking hammer we tried. So I think this is going to make a better hammer. Thanks, Doc. I'm looking forward to using this. The other thing he sent is a jar of honey. Apparently, Doc is also a beekeeper. And that's interesting because I know several blacksmiths that keep bees. There must be something about blacksmithing and bees that go together. Let's both start with a B. Maybe that's it. Anyways, thanks again, Doc. Always like good honey. Going to have to go bake some biscuits and try this out. Now, like I say, there is no specific thing that you have to do for this. I'm going to give you my measurements, but they really don't matter that much. If you have bigger material, smaller material, you want to try a different approach, go for it. It doesn't really matter that much. This is 1/4 inch by 1.5 material. So that's about 6 by 38 millimeters, something like that. Again, doesn't matter that much. It's a little bit over 8 inches long, so about 210 millimeters long. And it's a great place to use up scraps of flat bar like this. If all you got is 1-inch bar, use 1 inch. If you got 2-inch bar, use 2-inch. Heck, use 3-inch if you want to make something really big. But maybe you start with something smaller and kind of get the idea first. And that's what we're going to do. So let's head over to the forge. What we'll do is just kind of draw this out to a rough point at this stage. And we'll split this into a couple of horns. I just think it's easier to start with it mostly drawn out. So I'm drawing out both horns at the same time. Just going to split down the horns then. Use a handheld chisel or a handled chisel like this one, whichever you prefer, or whichever you have. You can even hacksaw it if you'd like, or use an angle grinder. Depending on what material your chisel's made out of, you may need to cool it during that process. really about all you need to do there. Just want to kind of flatten those back out and give them whatever shape you want them to have. You want them square, leave them square. You want them round, make them round. I'm going to kind of round these up a little bit, I think. Start by knocking the corners off. Be careful of that spike being up there. It'd be easy to accidentally hit your hammer hand on it. Better to work with it down like this. And you just round that up once you've got it kind of do an octagon. I would do as much heavy forging and shaping of these horns at this stage as you possibly can. Going to do final adjustments later, and the reason I say that is because on my test piece I was working on, I went ahead and punched the mouth, and while I was trying to draw out the horns, I managed to crack that thin piece of material. If I'd done all the drawing out here first, I would have been done, and nothing would have stressed that. We'll need to bring these up just a little bit. Of course, who knows, that may be what I want for my horns in the long run. I just want to be able to get it into the guillotine tool here. Yeah, get it in there. We should be able to then fuller that right through there. And this fuller just kind of defines what's the bottom of the face. It's a tight fit in there. Transition into his face a little bit better, although I don't want to make it too small. I noticed when I punched the mouth on that prototype that being a little bit narrow was a problem. So just about like that. So before I punch the mouth, I think I want to come through and I want to cut some little slices off here to make arms out of. Don't absolutely need arms. Other thing we're going to need is need to split here, not necessarily for legs, but for a base to let it stand up. So I'm just going to start down here and cut a little bit of a slice out. Not all the way. You want to cut it through, but you don't want to cut it out the top of his shoulder here. So that's about as far as I want to go there. And I want to try and match it on the other side. I'm just marking it because it's too cold to cut all the way through, but if I can get my mark in here. There again, you could saw these out if you'd rather. Those will take a little filing to clean up. Should be one advantage to using a hacksaw or bandsaw to cut these, as you don't need to do as much cleanup on them. Now we could also draw this base out if we wanted to, but since I'm here with a chisel, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting this, and we'll draw the base out after we split it. Either one is an option. That should be plenty of that. I want to separate out the bits here so we can get in there and file them and do whatever we need to clean them up. And yes, I file in both directions on hot material. It cuts easily enough, you can cut both ways. That file's been doing this for 15 or 20 years. Doesn't hurt a thing. I'm going to bend this base in the opposite direction so I can get in here and draw this out. I'm going to draw this out very similar to the horns. And the way Mitchell had his original that I saw done, these make kind of a big S curve. And that's what supports it. It kind of gives the illusion of ghostly feet. Try not to hit his arm while you're doing this. I need to bend those arms further out of the way there. Ended up funny little lump on his hip there. Using a little anvil bridge like this really helps get into tight spots so you kind of clean that lump up. They aren't real solid, so they're not great for a lot of forging, but they really do help with these little issues like that. And I go back to work drawing the legs out. And again, be super careful of these arms that are sticking out here. It would be really easy to accidentally hit that with your hammer hand or something. I feel like I'm well away from it, but everybody's got a different grip and a different approach to how they swing, so just be aware of things like that. See, I'm already thinking that it's way easier to draw this out first and then split it, which is why I usually do it that way. This is probably also much more efficient to draw out over the horn. can skip this step and just weld this to a base of some sort if you'd rather. I think I'm going to go ahead and round these up as well. Again, it's just a matter of personal style or taste, or the whim of the moment, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to just use a simple little bending jig here to put a little curl in this. In the long run, one of these will go forward and one of these will go back. We're not really trying to make a heart-shaped Halloween decoration here. But that's a good way to make heart-shaped stuff if you want to. But I'm going to leave this flat like that so I can go ahead and work on the eyes of the mouth. I'm going to start by punching a couple of eyes in here. You can make little chisel slits for slanty eyes or squinty eyes, as the case may be. You can use ovals or teardrops. But I had a round punch handy. So we're going to do round eyes. I think I can get both of these through in one heat. Cool my punch a little there. If you don't want the eyes to go all the way through, you don't have to. But if you're going to use these as a reflective piece from a candle to create a shadow, I think the eyes going all the way through will look better. Yeah, not going to get them both in one heat. Not quite through. There it went. So now I think I'm going to put a slot punch in for a mouth, and on this one I've left more material so it'll be stronger than that prototype that I broke. And again, you can have whatever shape mouth you want. So now everything is just sort of decorating this and deciding what kind of shapes you want the horns to have. I think I'm going to bring them out and back up a little bit and do a little something with the arms. I'm just going to come over to the horn and open these up a little bit. Kind of give them a free-form shape. I'm not really going for symmetrical at this point. And I think that's about what I want there. Now we're going to fix the legs a little bit. I think I've decided I want that to be just a little bit bigger, at least the one that goes to the front, so that I can set a votive candle down inside the curl. This doesn't need to be much bigger, just enough that I can get that size candle in there. It doesn't hurt if they both match, but it doesn't really matter either. So one's going to go forward, and one's going to go back. I think I'll go to the vise to even that up, but you can see how this is going to kind of stand on its own there. Actually, I may not need to go to the vise. That may be, I think that's stable enough. Well, here we have some spooky little forgings for those of you who like to decorate at Halloween. I think these would look great in a dark room with the shadows dancing off the wall from the candlelight, but you can display them however you want. And don't let this limit your imagination. Make as many of these as you think you would like to have in all sorts of different styles. I think a jack-o'-lantern might look good, maybe a skull would look good. Lots of different things you can do, more variations on the ghost, maybe with one little top knot that swirls around and scrolls. I don't know, it's whatever you feel like doing. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. If you haven't done so already, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. Feel free to stick around, watch a few of the other videos, share the videos with your friends, but then by all means, make time in your day to get out to your shop. Make something, but stay safe, wear your safety glasses, and we will see you for the next one.